All right, Eric, I think we're good to go.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining our webinar on AWS Funding for Startups. Now, while this webinar is focused on funding for startups, there are programs that I'm going to talk about in this webinar today that are also applicable to customers who are not startups, or if you're just looking to move to cloud from on-prem as well. All right, so that's me. I'm Eric Schuler. I'm the Senior Director for Solution Architecture. I've been doing this 29 years, and before being on the partner side, I actually helped start nonprofit healthcare solution architecture at Amazon Web Services. So I've got experience from both the partner side and from working on the vendor side, working with these various programs and funding mechanisms that we're going to talk about here today. Just a quick agenda of what we're going to dive into. I'm first going to give a quick overview of Align Technology Group, who we are, some of the different things that we do, just so that you're aware of all of our different capabilities at a high level. Then I'm going to dive into the various funding programs that we typically use with AWS. These are the most common programs. These are not all inclusive of every funding program that is available at AWS. If you have a specialty or vertical, there are some different funding mechanisms we can take advantage of. These are just the most common ones that we use and are most beneficial to our customers. All right, so who is ATG? Well, we're a company that's almost 6 years old. We're about 2 blocks over from the beautiful NC State campus in the Bell Tower, if you're familiar with that area. We cover a lot of different verticals. We have customers that are in fintech, that are in gaming, healthcare, finance, software development, state and local government. So we have experience across many different verticals. What we focus on is, what is your business problem that you want to solve, and how can we engineer the best solution with that? As a company, all we do is AWS. We can integrate with your on-prem and existing solutions, but we're not focused on your colo, or your data center, or any of the other technologies out there. We just want to be the best AWS partner that you can work with. Now, I'm going to hit these at a high level, the different areas of excellence for our company. The very first one here, if you haven't migrated to cloud whatsoever, is cloud advisory. So if you need to do a cloud readiness assessment, maybe you're looking to develop software that you want to deploy on public cloud, that's where we would do cloud advisory. So we're going to look at your existing environment, if there is one, or we're going to build out your Figma diagrams, your software functional specs, and things like that in a cloud advisory engagement. If you're already in cloud, we have cloud finance. Now, a lot of customers are very interested in cost optimization. Am I using the proper tools? Am I managing my costs? Am I keeping within my budget that I've set for my operations expense once I've moved to public cloud? So we have financial management tools. We build in alerts automatically and whatnot so that you get notified. One of our customers a couple of weeks ago was going to go over their monthly bill by $2, and our delivery team proactively notified them, you're going to be over your budget by $2. So we are monitoring these things for you and sending alerts to you and your team. So this is for people that are already in public cloud, and we build all this in when we deploy you on AWS Cloud as well as part of your environment. Cloud engineering is what my team and the delivery team focus on. So this is engineering, infrastructure, security, software development, databases, all those things you need to function inside a public cloud. That's what we build. That's what we maintain. We can do managed services for this as well if you like. We have many managed services customers as well where we monitor and maintain their entire environment. Cloud security, this one I think is self-explanatory. This is really where ATG started, was focusing on security. So when you think about compliance, whether it's in the United States, whether it's abroad, if you have to comply by GDPR, if you're in healthcare, HIPAA, if you're processing credit card payments, PCI compliance, preparing for those audits and things like that. If you're banking and financial, the multiple audits you go through a year, all the different tools and reports that you'll have to have available, maybe the users for auditors and things like that. We can help you with all those things. We can set all those up from the get-go, and we've done that for quite a few customers already. And then last but not least is data and analytics. Many of our customers are at different stages when it comes to data and analytics. Some of them have a strategy, some of them just need to modernize their tools. It really depends upon where you are. If you don't have any data analytics and you don't have a strategy, we can take you from strategy to an actual warehouse or data lake, whichever is most appropriate for your business, and then actionable reports to give you the results and the data you need to better serve your customers and help you with your business decisions. So that's a high level of many of our superpowers here at ATG. I could go on in each one of these for probably another 30 minutes on their own. But if you're interested in learning more about these, definitely let us know. We're happy to have a separate conversation about any of these topics. All right, so the very first program I want to talk about is the most common used program, and this is called AWS MAP. Now, this program, it's this 2024 MAP. It was just updated on July 1st by AWS. So if you've used MAP in the past, this is going to be a little bit different from what you might have used with 2023 going up to July 1st. Most of our customers are in the annual run rate spend of 100,000 to 500,000. Some are over 500,000 to 10 million, the larger customers. So I'm going to focus on these two right here because this is where you get the most benefits. When you're at 100,000 in annual run rate or less, you just take advantage of credits. Up here, I'll focus and dissect these so you understand what the different phases are. So starting with the assess phase. So if you need a cloud readiness assessment, or if you need someone to help you build out your software, how are you going to deploy that? What are your Figma boards going to look like? What is your customer experience going to look like on that website or that software developing, whether it's a mobile app or it's a web-based app, which is pretty common today. Those are the two that we work with most customers on. Or maybe that data strategy here. This is where we would do an assessment. Now, you'll see there's 5% in ARR and partner cash. What that means is 5% of whatever your annual spend on AWS will be is what we can get in partner funding cash from AWS. So you can use this money to pay us, to pay ATG, to do this assessment, build out your strategy, build out the documentation, software functional specs, and all the things that you will need to deploy on AWS. The maximum that they give under the program is $75,000 of funding. That's typically more than enough, depending upon the scope of your project and what we're planning out here. The next phase is mobilize. So mobilize in AWS means you're actually building something. So if we're deploying your environment, we're deploying your data center, we're deploying the software tools or whatnot, this is the mobilize phase. Think of it as deploying a colo or software-defined data center inside of AWS. All that infrastructure, any code that we're writing, any automation we're building, infrastructure as a code, et cetera, mobile apps and things like that that will live and reside on AWS, that falls in this mobilize phase. Under MAP large, there's modernization services partner cash. So we can get 10% of the AR. So if we got 5% here, we're now up to 15% of your ARR as we move into this next phase. If you're a greenfield customer, if you're someone who is not on AWS, if you're totally new to public cloud, you may qualify for an additional 10% here. So just in this mobilize phase, there could be 20% of additional partner cash for us to write your software, get you mobilized and up and running on AWS. And then a new program they recently came out with that I'm personally very excited about is this new one for VMware. And there's 10% of ARR additional you can get in partner cash up to $200,000. So that's a pretty significant amount of money they've given to help people move off of Broadcom's VMware solution onto public cloud, native public cloud. They've also added a little bit of icing on the cake here by giving you $200 per VM that you migrate over to AWS workloads. And I'll talk a little bit more about what that is in the next coming slides here, the details of that. But you can get up to $1 million. So if you've got a lot of VMs, we can get you a lot of partner cash funding here to pay for services. Now, migrate and modernize are credits. So this is really interesting how the credits work. This goes toward your AWS monthly bill. And if you're a MAP large, you qualify for up to 25% of your ARR in credits. If you're a MAP light, it's 15% of ARR credits. So you can get quite a bit of money in your account as credits so that you may not have to pay your bill for some time. But what I really want to call your attention to is this column right here. So this is a fantastic program that a lot of my customers have taken advantage of over the years. The first one here is 10% in ARR for database and analytics. So if you're using Redshift or Amazon Q, or if you're going to Amazon RDS, that qualifies, that workload qualifies for another 10%. But this one, I've personally taken advantage of this with many of my customers. When I worked at AWS, I migrated Oracle databases over for a very large healthcare system in Florida. And I'm sure they would have loved to have had this funding back then. It was a little bit less, it was like 30%, now it's 50%. And just the amount of savings you have in Oracle license is significant and will pay for itself. But then you stack this 50% in credits on top of your ARR, it can be pretty darn significant. And I'll show you some models to give you an idea of what that can look like as you go through here. And then the very last one here, there's an additional 10% in ARR credits. This is for VMware. If you're in the MAP Lite, you're not in MAP Large, you can qualify for these credits as well. So that's the MAP program. This is the most commonly used program, whether you're an existing customer or you're a startup. If you're looking to migrate workloads to cloud, I've had businesses that are 30 to 40 years old utilize the MAP program. It's the most popular. What I'm going to dive into next is a lot of the specialty programs that you have that you can use in parallel with this MAP program as well. So these are the different levers as an AWS partner that we can pull for you. A lot of this funding here, because it's partner cash, you can't get that on your own. You have to go through a partner like us, an AWS certified advanced tier partner. So let's dive into that a little bit more. I want to talk a little bit more about MAP for VMware because this is a new program, and I think it's an excellent program that many of our customers are going to take advantage of. So key thing, 75% of the workloads that are being migrated must be on VMware today. That's not very hard. Most of our customers have anywhere from 90 to 100% of their workloads are virtualized on VMware today. So we just need to make sure to qualify for this program, we've got to have 75% or more. They're not just physical workloads. I've got a customer I just did an assessment for, we're going to review tomorrow, I believe. And he had over 98% of his workloads were on VMware. He actually may be on this call right now. I think I see his name. The $200 per migrated VM cache. Again, this is a fantastic program here. What you see down here with workload eligibility, this is just a mapping. So if you're coming from VMware on-prem, these are the different containerized services and virtual instance services with EC2 you can migrate to that qualify under the program. Of course, they have mapping for Tanzu and Pivotal. The most common one that I'll see customers moving to today is VMware Horizon over to Amazon Workspaces. Amazon Workspaces is a fraction of the cost of Horizon and more highly available when you design it properly. So a lot of customers moving to this, it's very popular. So if you're interested in virtual desktops and whatnot, talk to us about it. I don't care if you've got 4 virtual desktops or you got 400 of them, this will save you money. And we're here to help you as an AWS partner with that. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about modernization. Whenever you migrate anything to public cloud, you can do a lift and shift. And I've had customers do that many times in the past. But if you really want to take advantage of public cloud, the high availability, and lower your operating costs, you really need to look at replatforming and re-architecting your applications to take advantage of these various tools that are in public cloud that you typically don't have in the data center environment today. I've had customers that have done re-platform, re-architect and save anywhere from 40 to a little over 80% of their operational costs. So it's definitely worth the investment and time to do this. And we do this for you in that assess phase. So if AWS is providing funding, we're doing the assessment, we're going to include this in here. Depending upon the scope of work we have, we can usually include it there and have it funded by the program. But don't think you have to consume all these different services here. You just want to consume what you actually need to solve your problem, what applies to your workload or helps move your business forward. But there's a lot of different services out there. As your AWS partner, we're professionals in these. We have certifications. We've built them many times. So we are here to help guide and architect these so that you can deploy intelligently and keep your costs as low as possible. Okay, so I talked about some different use cases that I want to highlight from the MAP program. So I'm going to step through a few here that I think will help illustrate the different savings programs. So standard MAP, starting with that one, using round numbers, 1 million of annual run rate. So that's 1 million in AWS consumption costs. If that was your ARR when we calculated it out, you would get $50,000 in partner assessed funding. When we go to mobilize, the next partner funded section, when we're doing the actual moving and building of your applications, building your environment, writing your software, things like that, you will qualify for $200,000 in partner cash. So that would be $250,000 that we could potentially get from AWS to pay ATG to do the work, to build your environment and get it deployed and get you up and running. And then once we go on to migrate and modernize here, you can get an additional $250,000 in AWS credits applied toward your monthly bill. So you'll have $250,000 of consumption-based credits to spend before you actually have to pay anything to AWS for the services that you're consuming. So that's the first one, standard MAP. The next one here is pretty significant. You'll see that it's got a 3 million AR. And if you've ever worked with Oracle or SAP, I've worked with a lot of customers have it on-prem. You can spend easily anywhere from $5 to $9 million a year just on Oracle and SAP for on-prem. So 3 million for Oracle workloads in public cloud is not inconceivable in any fashion. But what we're doing is we're going to take advantage of these other programs. Now, in this model, they're saying, hey, you don't need an assess. We're doing a database migration from Oracle to AWS native. So if you need to do an assessment for software application, API development, things like that, we can still apply for that money. It doesn't mean it doesn't qualify under this program. But in the mobilize phase, I want to point this out, that if you've got 3 million in ARR, with the different funding mechanisms that you've got, that would be $350,000 to be qualified in partner cash. So it'd be $350,000 to pay our team to migrate and modernize and do all your schemas and help you with your software to get you off of Oracle. On top of that, you're going to save a tremendous amount in licensing costs. The healthcare system in Florida that I moved off, with the licensing costs they would have paid, it was paid for in savings in 2 months by getting off of Oracle and going over to AWS RDS. And we did that in a matter of a month with the move. And that was a pretty sophisticated schemas that they had there as well. Now in this program, I want to point out the credits. So with the SAP and Oracle credits, they give you an additional 50% in this program, which is fantastic. I can't wait to take advantage of this for one of my customers, because you're stacking the credits with the other 25 that you're qualified for, so you can get up to 75%. So you see here that in credits that would be applied to your AWS account for consumption, it's $2,250,000. Well, if you're 3 million AR, that's almost a whole year where you're not going to be paying your AWS consumption-based bill. So that is really cool. I think that's an awesome program to take advantage of. So if you've got SAP or Oracle workloads you want to look at, let us know. We're here to help you with migrating those and doing the assessment and the planning and letting you take advantage of these credits as well. The very last one I'm going to talk about here is VMware. Now, this is the one I think that we see the most often. And with this new program and the incentives that are there, they're fantastic. This is a great way to save quite a bit of money. So again, if we're talking about a 1 million ARR comparing to the first one we had here, we still get the 50,000 in assess because that's based on your ARR. But you'll notice in the mobilize, there's more partner cash here. There's a $500,000 in partner cash versus 200,000 for the VMware workload. So depending upon the scope of work that you have that we need to do, this could potentially pay for all the work you need us to do and maybe much more. So great program if you're looking to migrate off of VMware, off of Broadcom VMware, should I say, since they've been purchased over to native AWS. Let's talk about this program, and we may be able to get you migrated over to AWS at no cost to you. And then on the migrate and modernize, the credits are the same here because this is map large. You don't get that additional 10%, so it's got 25. But if you remember the slide I previously showed you, if it was map light, this would be less, but this would be a little bit more in credit, so you can add another 10% on top of there. So some pretty cool programs with math that you can take advantage of. I can't see the chat right now, so I trust that my colleagues are answering the questions for you, and we'll have a Q&A at the end. But I hope this is helpful for everybody to look at and see these models. All right, so the next program here is AWS Activate. And if you're a startup, you should definitely look into this program here. What I want to pull your attention to is that if you've got angel investors or you've got any type of venture capital firms and things like that, the majority of them are in the Activate program. And if you look to the right here where my mouse cursor is moving right now, there's up to $100,000 in US dollars in AWS Activate credits. If you're a startup, this can be a significant amount of money to pay for all of your AWS bills for consumption base. So that's, depending upon the workload you're using, that could last you quite a bit of time. So if you're a startup, you have investment firms and whatnot, we can definitely help you apply for this and get those credits applied to your account. We definitely know how to pull the levers and what to apply for and what's qualified and what's not. The next one for a lot of startups is maybe you've written some software for a mobile application, maybe you've written something for on-prem, but now you want to deliver this software as a service on AWS. Well, there's an ISV workload migration program where you can get additional credits to move your application to SaaS on AWS. Now, in this program, we can help you migrate through this program. We can actually write the software for you if you want to make it SaaS-based. And then we have access to the marketing, to the AWS Marketplace, to develop the different case studies, solution briefs, the ebooks, all the things that Lauren and her team build. AWS will work with us and you to build those things out and get your go-to-market support and have it out there and marketed very well on AWS, so that you can sell both on demand and via private offers. It's a fantastic program for anyone that's doing software development. We have a partner I actually talked to yesterday that we're going to take advantage of this program because he's writing software that's on a current other cloud provider that he wants to bring to AWS because he sees a lot of his customers utilizing AWS. So if you're a software development company or you have an application that you want to migrate over and make it SaaS-based, absolutely let us know. This is a program we can take advantage of for you. The last one here I want to talk about is the ATG Catalyst program. Now, this is a fantastic program and it's of no cost to you. I like to tell customers it's totally free because it is. The way this program works is if you're spending $100 on AWS today, paying direct for your AWS bill, you would change your billing over to ATG and you pay $100 just like you are today. The difference is AWS gives us instant advance to your partner credits. And what we do with those credits, instead of just putting the money in our pocket, we give you 11 premium engineering services to help you make your experience and your environment more secure, more reliable, more highly available. Now, there's all these 11 different services, and I'll say some of the ones that our customers find the most benefit from is a quarterly cloud advisor review. So we're always looking at your accounts, we're looking at your billing, we have the billing alerts and things like that. But the cloud architecture health check and the cloud security posture assessment. We have customers in banking and finance and healthcare that they have to make sure they're constantly hitting the compliance, otherwise they get fines. If you're banking, you know how many different audits you're going to get. I've worked in banking, I've worked in healthcare. I can tell you exactly what you'll go through for HIPAA compliance and whatnot in banking with your regular audits and whatnot. We run these so that you know exactly where you stand before you walk into an audit, how to remediate those. We give you those reports. Some of our customers do them quarterly. Some of them want to do it more often, but that is part of this program. It's of no cost to you to do that because AWS is giving us as a partner that margin off of your monthly spend. And this is what we're doing with the margin that they give us. Well-architected framework review. If you've ever been through one of these, you'll know the benefit of it. If you've got an application that you want to look at, is it architected properly? Should we change the security posture, the architecture of it to take advantage of all the tools in the AWS and lower your costs? We run through those with you as well. And then the very last one here is preferred access to our Elastic Engineering, so you get discounted rates. Elastic Engineering is a program with our customers where if you just need assistance for an hour to deploy an application, or maybe you're trying to troubleshoot something you're developing or whatnot, you can buy Elastic Engineering hours from us. But being a Catalyst customer, you actually get a discounted rate off of our delivery team's regular rates. So that's our Catalyst program. If you want to learn more about that, or if you want to take advantage of these free services, you're paying AWS directly today, and you want to pay the same amount and just go through us and take advantage of all these different engineering programs here that we and premium services we provide, let us know. We're happy to do that. And then the very last slide before we pause and go into Q&A is we have another webinar coming up here. We love webinars. We hope you've enjoyed this one and you've seen some benefit from it. But we're going to talk about Elastic Disaster Recovery Service. Elastic Disaster Recovery is AWS's automated disaster recovery service. We're very experienced veterans with this, whether it's building out the tools and helping you build the runbook so that you can turn up a full virtual software-defined data center in the event of a disaster. Or if you want to build some automation around that so that it's more automated with DNS and things like that. We can help you with that as well. But we're going to have a webinar on that one on August 21st from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern. So if you're interested in DR, AWS DR, and what we do specifically with EDR to make it actionable for our customers, please sign up for that webinar as well. And with that, I'm going to jump into Q&A here. I couldn't see the chat as we're going through, so I'm going to stop sharing for a moment and see if we have any questions here. Oh, looks like we do have some chat questions. Let's see if... Lauren, are there any questions I should address first, or did you get?
Yeah, we had one question, but it might be helpful for the group in case, which was if we're doing connections between NetSuite and AWS, could that have the same advantages of the example you noted around Oracle and SAP?
NetSuite, yes, we can apply for funding there. I don't know if they'll give us the full 50%. Because it's Oracle SAP, but yeah, I believe it's included in there. We can double check on that. Who is asking that question? Jeremy?
Jeremy, he had to drop, but yeah, we just told him we get back.
I'll follow up with Jeremy then. I'll go look at the program, but I'm pretty sure NetSuite was included in that as well. Okay.
Does anybody else have specific questions? You can also unmute yourself.
I think Jeremy's still on, actually. He's on the share. Jeremy, did you want to elaborate on what you're doing with NetSuite, or would you like to talk about that offline? Oh, he's still on mute. All right. Any other questions? I went through the slides pretty quick, so if you'd like me to flip back to any of them, I'm happy to do that.
We'll
Show
send
the
out the recording
fundamentals.
too afterwards, so everybody can have your deck to look over. Oh, one new, let's see.
Okay. I don't know how to say. Is that Bally? So Bally, I don't know if you're a member of any of our meetups. So we have meetups in Raleigh, we have meetups in Greensboro, and in Greenville, South Carolina, near where I live. So yeah, if you want to reach out to us, we'd be more than happy to work with you for one of our meetup events.
She's in class, but we'll get her.
All right, no problem. Here, I'll put my email in here, Bally, if you just want to email me directly.
Perfect. So we'll go ahead and close this out then, and look forward to an email from the Line Technology team with a recap of the webinar. And we hope you'll join us again in August. Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.